Well, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast on this 26th day of August 2023. We're glad that you've chosen EBN TV to inform you tonight. My voice is literally hoarse as I was cheering Team Kenya at the 4x400 meter race, where unfortunately Kenya, we didn't make it to the finals, but what a race that was. Well, aside from that, we've got much more lined up for you tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight. Kenya Power and Lighting Company KPLC explains cause of power outage witnessed across the country on Friday night as Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport Kipchumba Murkomen cracks the whip on aviation authorities. President William Ruto intensifies his tours within the country as he camps in Western Kenya, promises bag of goodies. Azimio la Umoja insists talks are entirely about Kenyans. Odinga promises back to the streets if talks fail. Well, our SMS line is 23993. You can watch this bulletin live on Facebook and on YouTube on EBN TV. I'm the captain of this particular ship tonight. I'm Cynthia Nanjala. EBN Weekend Edition begins right now. Kenya Power has fully restored power supply to most parts of the country after a power blackout, was reported on Friday night after losing 270 megawatts generation from the late Turkana wind power plant. Areas that had been affected including Kiambu, Nyeri, Meru, Murang'a, Embu, Isiolo, Nanyuki, Kericho, Bomet, Nyandarua, Samburu, Kisumu, Uasin Gishu, Kitale, Elgeyo Marakwet, West Pokot, Machakos, Makueni and parts of Nairobi. Earlier, the Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen issued an apology following the blackout that was also reported at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where activities were halted. Various businesses across the country have also reported losses following the power outage.
Pursuant to the blackout that occurred yesterday at JKIA at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and whereas the blackout is not, our power or energy issues are not necessarily addressed by this ministry, except of course in our capacity as a whole government approach. The blackout that occurred, had an impact on Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and therefore I'd like to make the following statement. As you are well aware, last night the country was plunged into a blackout which affected key government establishments, among them Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I wish to issue and reservedly apology to all travelers and airport users who were affected in one way or another by the power disruption at JKIA. For the avoidance of doubt, the incident, though regrettable, did not pose any danger to our incoming and outgoing flights and passengers, considering that the backup generator lighting the runway and control tower was seamlessly deployed when the blackout occurred. At no time did we have an iota of darkness on the runway or the tower.
Now, still on that, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has announced the dismissal of Kenya Airports Authority Managing Director Alex Gitari and General Manager Project and Engineering Services Fred Odawo following the Friday nationwide power outage that affected operations at the JKIA. Henry Ogoye, the current head of corporate planning at the authority, will replace Gitari, while Engineer Samuel Mochache will succeed Odawo. Speaking after touring the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on Saturday to ascertain whether operations had resumed at the facility, Murkomen attributed the personnel changes frequently experiencing mishaps occasioned by management challenges, which he says have resulted to a demoralized workforce.
By mutual consent, the contract of Mr. Alex Gitari who has been the managing director of Kenya Airports Authority, has been terminated. In his place, Mr. Henry Ogoye, currently serving as the head of corporate planning, has been appointed to be the acting managing director of the Kenya Airports Authority. I want to emphasize the part of mutual consent. And you can see Mr. Gitari is here. And I want to take this opportunity to thank him for his sacrifice, commitment, passion, and the hard work he has done for this country. And that's why it was not difficult for us to reach a mutual agreement. By mutual consent again, the contract of Mr. Engineer Fred Odawa, who has been the General Manager, Project and Engineering Services, has been terminated. And his place, Engineer Samuel Mochache, has been appointed in an acting capacity. Again, Fred is here, and I had a conversation with him. He's here, and again, this was by mutual consent. I do not believe in the culture of backing and shouting at people. Where things can be done in an orderly manner, it's possible to do so. It's possible to make changes in a more cultured manner. So I want to thank you, Fred, and Alex, for the sacrifice you're making to our country. We are not judging you. We are not punishing you. We are just creating an opportunity for others to also try and see whether they can turn around the situation at the Kenya.
Also, the National Assembly has requested Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir and Kenya Power Chief Executive Officer Joseph Siror to appear before the House's Committee on Energy on Thursday next week to address the nationwide power outage that occurred on Friday. The Energy Committee, chaired by Mwala Member of Parliament Vincent Musyoka, wants the two to issue a comprehensive account of the factors that led to the outage, which impacted various areas including the airport. Through a communique, the committee secretariat stated that the chairman has directed that they summon the CS together with the CEO of KPLC to explain the cause of the current nationwide blackout which has paralyzed the nation. On Friday night, various parts of the country, including Nairobi, Siaya, Nyahururu, Meru, Kajiado, and the airport, experienced a power blackout that the KPLC attributed to a faulty line.
We have been tasked by our committee to invite the Minister for Energy and the entire team working under Kenya Power and Lighting Company to come and appear before the committee on Thursday in Nairobi to come and tell Kenyans the reason why there is frequent outages of electricity in the country, which has really hindered the business and inconvenient Kenyans all over the country. Up to now, as we are talking here today, some Kenyans have not realized the return of electricity, and those who have realized the return of electricity, let's say the hospitals, we have lost lives because of the outage. So these things need to be fixed once and for all, and we ensure that the country is stable and the energy sector is put into the right hands, or not people will continue inconveniencing Kenyans the way we have foreseen it. We are here to make sure that everything is put in order and everybody is made accountable to their omissions and commissions. Why we are here, and that's the message which we wanted to pass across, and the Kenyans will be aware that the committee is not sitting down, but the committee is up to the task and will ensure Kenyans are given what they deserve.
So that we have a competitive distribution network that then would guarantee cheaper electricity for Kenyans. But more important, like the chairman has mentioned, we have made a number of recommendations that will ensure that this country gets the cheapest electricity for Kenyans to enjoy. This is our mandate as the committee, and we are up to the task. As the chair has mentioned, the Minister for Energy and the MD will appear before the committee to be able to explain to Kenyans what happened. But you can see if the act was implemented, the system itself, the control center would be under the arms of the KETRACO. So there will be no issue of blaming Kenya Power. So it's important, like you say, to ensure we mainstream the Energy Act 2019.
And of course, that is something that continues to develop. The Kenya Power Lighting Company continues to bring in updates, at least hourly, on just some of these areas that power has been restored and areas where there is no power just yet. They say it is a faulty line that occurred in areas of Turkana, and their engineers are working to restore power fully in all places across the country. Let's switch gears a bit. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition led by Raila Odinga were in Kajiado County earlier in the day as they attended the 22nd annual Inter-Ministries Union Conference. After the conference, the opposition visited Kitengela town for a meet and greet together with other Azimio leaders including Martha Karua, Jeremiah Kioni and other ODM leaders. The opposition insists the government should lower the cost of living. The ODM leader Raila Odinga urged the clergy to pray for the country for peace, saying he does not politic in church altars.
Tunaamini na mashauriano. Na our commitment in that process is 100%. Kama kanisa, nataka mkemee hata kama ni marafiki wenu wale ambao wanataka kusabaratisha hiyo mazungumzo, because they are going against Isaiah 1:18.
Mtu mzima, Uhuru ni mzee mzima, anajielewa. Huwezi kufanya yeye ni mtoto ya kwamba akisalimia mtu tena unataka kutuambia baba hadi kanisa. Hapa si ni kanisa. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa nataka kusema ya kwamba simjui sana, nyinyi mnamjua zaidi. Lakini tangu tuanzie mambo ya 2022 nimemkaribia. Na yale ambao tumehubiliwa hapo maneno matatu. Tumewabiwa hope, faith and love.
Ani Kenya haiwezi ikawa na chama kimoja. Huko tulitoka. Lazima kuwe na vyama zaidi ya moja. Kwa hivyo kila mtu ajisikie huru mahali umechagua. Chaguo langu ni Azimio. Wewe sikia huru, hiyo mahali huko kila mtu ako na uhuru wa kuwa pande yake. Lakini sisi sote tuwe wa Kenya na tuheshimiane.
Waliisha Kenya. Wazimu vile vile waliisha Kenya. Hakuna mtu ambaye anaweza kujitokeza kwa boma yake aende afanye maandamano kama kuna sababu. Lakini kama gharama ya maisha imepanda juu sana, bei ya unga imekuwa juu sana, bei ya mafuta imepanda juu sana, bei ya sukari na kadhalika, jamaa anaumia, sio? Tukasema punda imechoka.
Kenya hatutaki mambo yenu. Yeye anasahau ati yeye makamu wa Ruto. Sasa yeye anasema kwamba anaongoza serikali ambayo watu wa baba hawamo ndani yake, na wanafanya ubaguzi kwa upande ya ajira ya watu.
Catholic bishops have warned against failure to respect the constitution and extrajudicial cases, noting that it is time for national leaders to lead by example. Addressing the ongoing dialogue between the government and the opposition, the bishops have called on the parties to put their interests aside and address issues affecting Kenyans, including the high cost of living. The clergy urged teams to ensure the post-election complaints are put to rest by addressing the pertinent issues through the National Dialogue Committee.
The most difficult conversations are the most important. Injustices, which include extrajudicial killings of innocent Kenyans, collectively remain issues that we must be vocal about. It's indeed unfortunate that 23 years later, his killers have not been identified and prosecuted. Very unfortunate indeed.
Na kabla haki haijapatikana hatuwezi kutulia. Familia haiwezi kutulia mpaka haki ipatikane. Na haki ni kusema aliyefanya jambo hili bado yuko tu. Tunaona kwamba labda zile inquest ambazo zilifanyika zilionyesha kwamba hakika huyu aliuawa. Lakini haijajulikana aliyefanya tendo hili ni nani. Kampeni zilikuwa juu, tuliambiwa kwamba Biblia ikiwekwa chini, maisha inabadilika. Zaidi ya miezi kadhaa Biblia imewekwa chini, maisha sijui kama imebadilika kwako. Sijui kama umepata kazi, sijui kama wewe ni hasla bado ama wewe ni mdosi. Haki, haya mazungumzo yana nia ya kumsaidia mwananchi katika maisha yake. Mchana wanasema tutaongea, lakini baadaye wanapokuja katika mikutano ya kisiasa tunaona wakidhalalisha mazungumzo hayo.
President William Ruto has today started his official visit to the western region of Kenya for 5 consecutive days. Addressing residents and local leaders, the president has mentioned that the Kenya Kwanza government intends to employ young people in various sectors, including the development of infrastructure, also mentioning agriculture is the backbone of the national revenue, saying he will ensure that farmers get fertilizers at cheap prices and loans with low interest throughout the country, including the Western Kenya region, with a large percentage of food crop farmers.
Kuna watu wako na kasumba ya kulete fujo katika taifa letu la Kenya. Si ndio? Nyinyi mnajua tulimaliza uchaguzi. Ama kuna yenye mlibakisha huku kubudalangi? Si mlimaliza uchaguzi? Mkatumalizia sisi viongozi. Mkachagua MCA, mkachagua mbunge, mkachagua senator, mkachagua governor, mkachagua rais. Kuna yenye mlibakisha? Kura iliisha ama haikuisha? Saa hizi hakuna tena ati kugawana viti ya viongozi. Wananchi walimaliza kugawa viti ya viongozi na lilisha. Awamu ingine ya kugawana viti ya viongozi inakuja 2027. Hapa katikati sasa sio kupanga mambo ya viongozi tena, hapana. Hapa katikati ni kupanga mambo ya wananchi. Vile hawa vijana watapata ajira, vile tutapanga biashara yao, vile tutapanga ufubi yao, vile tutapanga kilimo yao. That is what we need to do. Tumekubaliana jameni? So mimi nauliza viongozi wote, jameni, tuungane. Ile ya muhimu Kenya leo ni vile ya kutafuta ajira ya hawa vijana. Tuko na vijana karibu 5,000,000 Kenya wanahangaika. Wamemaliza shule, wamemaliza college, wamemaliza university, lakini hawana ajira. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ambaye tumetengeneza. That is why Owalo yuko hapa kuzungusha mambo ya internet. That is why ile infrastructure ingine yote tunashirikisha ndio tupange ajira ya hawa vijana. Ya tatu ni hiyo nimesema. Market ambazo tunatengeneza, County Aggregation Industrial Park, hii mambo ya blue economy hapa, tuweze kukusanya ile mapato yetu yote na rasilimali yetu yote ya kilimo, ya uvuvi, tuweke katika barabara ya agro processing, value addition, tupeleke mpaka manufacturing, ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba Kenya inasonga mbele na vijana wanapata ajira.
Now, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has said he will oppose any proposal to rebuild Busia Stadium, which was destroyed during the anti-government protests last month. Gachagua was responding to Busia Governor Paul Otuoma, who asked President William Ruto to help him repair the damaged stadium. The stadium was damaged during the Azimio protests last month after demonstrators pulled down a wall surrounding the stadium. However, Gachagua said he would support Governor Otuoma's request if he promised not to allow protests in the county.
Lakini governor pia acha nikuambie ukweli. Hii maneno umeomba rais, yote ni mzuri na mimi nitaunga mkono. Lakini moja nitakuwa na shida. Hata kama rais overrule me, I'll have a difficulty. Kama rais atasema ndio, okay, I have to accept because he is the boss and you don't agree with your boss. But with a heavy heart. Ati wao wanataka pesa ya kujenga stadium, hawa watu walibomoa wenyewe, tukupatie pesa ujenge? How? Na Wakenya wengine tutawaambia nini? What do we tell other Kenyans? Hawakuwa na stadium, hawakung'oa. Sasa tutawacha kujengea wale hawana, tuende tujengee wale walibomoa wenyewe? Hiyo governor, that is difficult. Maybe you can persuade my boss, lakini mimi, unajua mimi ni mtu ya kusema ukweli. Hiyo mimi I'll have a problem with that. Because sasa nyinyi wenyewe hii stadium nani anachezea? Nani anachezea? Nani wenye kubomoa? So what do you want us to do? Stadium ni yenu. Nyinyi ndio mnachezea. Nyinyi ndio mnafurahia. Nyinyi wenyewe wenye kuchezea na kufurahia ndio mmebomoa. Sasa mnaambia rais ati akuje ajenge. Hau. Mzuri. Muungwana. Lakini akifuatana na hii mzee ya maandamano, sijui ni kasuba gani na msheka. Anabadilika na kuwa mtu mwingine. So hiyo rais ni sawa, but mheshimiwa has to put it in writing and give a copy to me nikae naye. Ya kwamba ikijengwa hata lete watu kuchoma. Hata ile mzee ya maandamano akija hapa. Utaandika barua? Na kwa hivyo.
Elsewhere, the Kenya National Union of Teachers has threatened to ask teachers not to man this year's national exams following the government's trend of delaying payments for examination officials. NAT Vice Chairperson Hesbon Otieno has demanded for an assurance from the Kenya National Examination Council (NEC) that the payment of examiners, invigilators and supervisors will not be delayed this time round. The Vice Chair has also faulted the Teachers Service Commission over the trend in the delay of remittances, saying it seriously affects the teachers.
We have the NEC. I had it addressed here. I know they paid some of the teachers in July. They paid, in fact, most of them in July. After we had written to them and we had made a lot of noise, they paid in July. But we are still telling NEC, and I heard the Education Sub-County Director here saying that that exams are coming. We are telling NEC, when the exams are done and you contract teachers to man those exams, then ensure that you pay promptly. Because the government had obligated itself to take over the payment of national exams. So it means that when they make their national budget, they give allocations to management of national examinations. That's 20 shillings or 100 shillings that you are paid as an examiner or an invigilator or a marker. That 100 shillings you are paid. If it is not given to you in good time in December after doing that work, and it is given in July, those people who know finance, is the shilling stable at that time? Is the shilling the same? It is not the same, isn't it? So let them pay promptly, and if they are not going to pay promptly, then we will ask our teachers not to do what? Not to do what? Not to man the exams. We want that prompt payment, and we are going to write to the teachers, to the NEC.
Kirinyaga Women Representative Njeri Maina has accused Kirinyaga County Government of harassment after she was allegedly denied access to Kamigwa Polytechnic grounds under the county government, where she was to conduct bursary issuance. Njeri was forced to carry out the exercise in the middle of the link road connecting Samson Corner to Kutus and Kianyaga. Police blocked the road to allow the function to continue. Let's take a look.
Nataka niambie Governor Anne Waiguru umebakisha miaka 4. Hapa Kirinyaga sio kwako peke yako. Hapa Kirinyaga ni kwa hawa watu ambao leo umewafanya wakae nje. Watu ambao leo umekataa kufungua Kamigwa Polytechnic. Watoto ambao hawana wazazi wasipewe bursaries. Watoto ambao ni PWDs wasipewe bursary. Na nikwambie uache kutumia vijana wa watu. Kama una vita na mimi, kuja wewe mwenyewe ama utume watoto wako. Mimi nakuheshimu manake uko na miaka 60, miaka ambayo imetosha ukuwe mama yangu. Kwa hiyo wewe pia jipe heshima. Na kama upendi Gasheri, wachana na yeye. Mimi shughuli zako ukifanya sikuji, zangu usitumane.
Tunahusunika kama wakaaji wa Kirinyaga kwa sababu women rep wetu Mheshimiwa Gasheri alikuja akaomba ground pale Kamigwa akapewa, lakini akaoza rais watu wake wafunge gate na weke tent kwa barabara.
Now, of course, that comes barely days after the women representatives sustained head injuries during a confrontation between two conflicting factions engaging in stone throwing in the county. That is a story that continues to develop, and we'll be keeping tabs with that. Elsewhere, over 500 Kenyans with dual skills and competencies in North Rift region have received prior certification through the recognition of prior learning program to improve their employability and mobility. Speaking in Kitale during the exercise, the Kenya National Qualifications Authority noted that through the certification, beneficiaries will be able to secure jobs within their respective disciplines and also benefit from government tenders.
We went through the sieving process. It is also important to say that we have an issue with the capacity to assess all of them at the same time. So we've put some of them in our data bank so that in due course we will be able to inform them when they will also be assessed. We want to also indicate that we have roped in the industry. That is the Kenya Power, because we believe that the industry is a very important player when it comes to identification of the competencies that these candidates have.
We are very proud. We have now a mother, a father in Trans Nzoia chapter, because sisi sasa tutaendelea kupata certificate until hii pilot project kwa miaka 5 tutakuwa tumeenda mbali sana. Ninaomba ya kwamba watu wa micro and small enterprise watume more associations Trans Nzoia County wakuje katika hii Kitale National Poly for this RPL pilot project. I want to thank God for the international organizers, the school itself, and even serikali yetu ya Kenya. Nataka kushukuru sana. We are going to do a lot of manufacturing. We are going to do a lot because in the geocal sector we have many subsectors, including now.
Na uwezo wa kuchukua tenders kwa watu private na hata kwa institutions.
Of course I need the certificate. As a culture naona hawa hakuna wasichana. We are around 2 or 3 for now. So naenda kuempower wengine, nataka nifungue yangu alafu ni employ. I want to empower ladies, especially girl child. Nataka niende nifungue yangu ni wa employ, wanifanyie kazi.
The National Aid Control Council Coast Chapter has raised alarm following the skyrocketing cases of HIV infections in the region. Omar Mwanjama, the National AIDS Control Regional Coordinator, notes that 18% of infected persons are drug users who contract HIV through sharing needles to inject drugs, stressing that infections are extensive among young people from the age of, get this, 15.
Population which is more at risk of HIV infection. And among those in this category are the people who inject drugs. And I'm emphasizing those who inject drugs. We are saying that this population, we need to have strategies and programs to address this population.
Nikavuta kama miaka 2, nikacha kuvuta, nikaanza kusniff na cocaine pia. Kusniff nikamalizia kujidunga. Hiyo kujidunga kuna madhara nyingi, nilipata hepatitis, then nilitibiwa ikapona. Nilipata HIV.
Uraibu ni ugonjwa sugu tu kama wale magonjwa mengine, na mtu anaweza kasaidika na kaweza kuacha na karegelea maisha yake kama binadamu kamili.
Indigenous communities in Laikipia County now want the Senate to extend public review time frame to review the Natural Resources Benefits Sharing Bill before it is passed, so as to allow every community to clearly chart their path with regards to that particular bill. The Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill seeks to establish a system of benefit sharing in natural resource exploitation between resource exploiters, the national government, county governments, and local communities. The communities have stressed on being actively involved in the bill making as they will be directly affected. The community leaders have also called on Laikipia County Senator Nderitu John Kinyua to ensure the marginalized communities are not sidelined.
Also aware that we have carbon a credit bill that is on the process. We also want to urge the national government that before the bill goes through, we get enough time so that we can also give our input, so that the interest of the people who are concerned or who are affected by this carbon credit business at least get their chance and benefit accordingly with it. What we are all saying is that the Senator of Laikipia County should come strongly about the indigenous rights, especially on this benefit sharing bill, so that the interest and the concern of the indigenous people is fully catered and fully presented to
voice of all indigenous community.
And the constitution clearly defines who are the indigenous community. Everybody understand how indigenous wanaishi wapi, wanakaa kivipi, marginalization na kila kitu. So that is the position, and that is the reason why we decided as a few wale wako hapa kama representative, and we want the rest of the indigenous community to support us on this. That is our request. Kwamba wale wako Isiolo, Samburu, all over to support us so that we get time ya kuangalia the benefits sharing, kwa sababu hiyo ingine imepita, so that tuweze kuangalia tutakuwa tunafaidika namna gani.
To some business, cargo flights to Eldoret Airport have resumed as two cabinet secretaries assured that the government is working on strategies to expand the airport to meet international standards. Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport Kipchumba Murkomen and his counterpart for Investment, Industry and Trade Moses Kuria relaunched cargo flights with an Ethiopian airline cargo plane being the first to land. Cargo operators at the airport had been suspended for the past 3 months.
We work together with the governor, set up a hub for export. Even tea will be exported from here, from Kericho, from Kisii, from Nyamira, from Nandi, and all the counties in this region, so that we can be able to export tea and move the tea center from Dubai to here in Eldoret. Bigger problem to me is one, that the cost of cargo, I am advised that it is double other comparable airports. Why? Because of the runway, and we need to expand the runway by only 500 meters.
We must work hard to bring investors to this region. This airport's vision, Mheshimiwa Cheleli, Governor B, this airport vision that President Moi had, he already played his part in terms of putting the infrastructure. It is for us now to take it to the next level by providing the goods that we are able to export from Uasin Gishu, from this region to the rest of the world.
Let's take a look at some sports aside from what's happening in Budapest. Nyamira Girls High School from Siaya County are the 2023 East Africa Hockey Girls Champions. The two-time national champions saw off Kakungulu Memorial 2-0 on Saturday to finish top of the round-robin standings with 16 points and win their maiden Federation of East Africa Secondary School Sports Association title. In rugby, Sevens Kayonzo Secondary School were crowned East African champions after defeating Vihiga High School 21-0 in Rwanda. In the 3x3 basketball, debutants Onjiko High School walked away with the bronze medal. Let's keep up with my team now. 2 goals for Raheem Sterling and 1 for Nicholas Jackson